All right, what is up? We are live. Let's see real quick if the points have updated before we get going here. Points have updated. All right, so we're good to go for the whole deal here. I want to start off with saying you can visit the merch store. Just posted the link right there, and also Daily Downforce. If you want to get the 75 Greatest magazine, use offer code BB75 to get a free sticker pack with your purchase of the magazine. I can't wait to see where those stickers might end up. All right, so let's go to the finishing order. Of course, stage one was won by Martin Trix Jr. He got 10 points for that. And then in stage two, he finished fourth, so 17 points. He gets the most stage points. Second most stage points is going to go to Kyle Larson, who won stage two and then finished fifth in stage one to give him 16 points. 17 extra points for Truex, 15 extra points for Kyle Larson. Now let's go to the finishing order of the race. Denny Hamlin, of course, is your winner, holding off Kyle Larson there, who made a furious charge at the end. Couldn't quite figure out how to get around the arrow blocking or whatever they want to call it these days from Denny Hamlin. But then Kyle Larson ends up finishing second place there. He led 39 laps, 136 laps led for Denny Hamlin. Martin Truex Jr. Ends up in third after getting some damage to the splitter there. He does recover to get a third place. Kyle Busch finishes fourth. Good run for Kyle Busch. Got stage points in both stages, so it's going to be a good points day for the 8 gang, and they definitely needed that. This is the speed he's had all season, but the first time that they executed for the whole day, they only had one minor mistake, I think, on pit road. So pretty clean day for the 8 team. And you see when they have a clean day, he finishes in fourth place. I think he said in his interview, this should be a normal day for us with the speed we've had. Chase Elliott finishes fifth, so he rallies to finish fifth. There were times where he was up and down in this race, but the fifth place finish, I think, is probably about where he probably would have averaged out. Noah Gragson with some pit strategy. They get the sixth place finish. They are the first Ford in the race in sixth place. Ryan Blaney, seventh. He was good all day, was carrying the banner for Ford in the top 10 for most of the day by himself. So he ends up with a seventh place finish. Alex Bowman, a really good track for him. He was up, he was down. He ends up in eighth place. He was disappointed with the eighth place finish, but it is a good points day for him, and he continues his march onward. He's top 10 in points, even though people are trying to grab his job, or he was before the race started. We'll see where he's at now. Daniel Hemrick, good run for him, good pit strategy. Great run for that colleague team. They had the good qualifying effort with AJ Allmendinger, and they capitalized on it here with Daniel Hemrick. Ty Gibbs, a good finish for him. Just doing Ty Gibbs things, finishing in the top 10. Tyler Reddick, a little outside of the top 10, finishes here in 11th. He had some splitter damage too. I'm not sure if that played into it or if they just couldn't keep up with the racetrack. Ross the Boss, the Watermelon Man, Ross Chastain finishes 12th. AJ Allmendinger is 13th. So after that good qualifying run, AJ Allmendinger finishes 13th. 14th place for Josh Berry, who the only other notable thing that I saw from him in this race was there was some contact between him and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. When Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was essentially a top 10 car. So that contact, of course, costing Ricky Stenhouse Jr. his day. Austin Cindric, good run for him. He was in the top 11 or 12 for a lot of the day, ends up in 15th. So some good momentum for the 2 car here. He needed a good finish like this. And then you got the rest of the finishers here. 16th for Joey Logano, 17th for Chris Buescher, 18th for Daniel Suarez, 19th for Chase Briscoe, 20th for John Hunter Nemechek, 21st for Corey LaJoie, who was on that off sequence type of strategy, didn't have the speed he wanted, but ends up getting a 21st. Given the speed he had, I say that's probably a decent day for him. Carson Hocevar ends up finishing 22nd, Justin Haley 23rd, Zane Smith 24th. Oddly enough, this is probably going to be a good day for Zane Smith that he can build on. Zane Smith has not run good this season, so 24th. Maybe he is starting to figure this car out a little bit. We'll have to see going forward. Corey Heim, 25th, 26th, Harrison Burton. Austin Dillon, 27th, had that tire issue or whatever, had to pit, and that ruined his day. Jimmy Johnson, a lot of people were hopeful, including myself, that he would have a good run. Does not have a good run. 28th, Kaz Grala, 29th. Brad Keselowski, with some type of suspension issue, ends up in 30th. Todd Gilliland, 31st. He was in one of those early wrecks and was destroyed by the wrecker. Bubba Wallace ends up in 32nd with William Byron, Christopher Bell, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I think Bell, Byron, and Wallace were in that wreck on one of the restarts, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr., as I said, the aforementioned contact with the 4 car. Then Michael McDowell, 36th. He blew an engine. And Ryan Preece, his car, caught on fire. So at the very beginning of the race, still haven't heard why or what was going on with that. But that is that. So let's go and see where the points stand after this finish. Those finishes here at Dover. Kyle Larson still your points leader. He's got a 15-point lead over Martin Truex Jr. So essentially, the bonus points that he earned in this race are the difference, because I think he got 16 bonus points in this race. So that is the difference. And that's why I mentioned those stage points earlier. Chase Elliott, 33 back of the leader in third place. Denny Hamlin in fourth place at minus 49. Tyler Reddick in fifth place at minus 56. William Byron in sixth at minus 62. Then let's go down to 16 here. Ryan Blaney, Ty Gibbs, Alex Bowman, Ross Chastain are your top 10. Then Kyle Busch, he was outside of the top 16. He is now not comfortably in, but he's in 11th position now with that good run. So he is now 11th place in points. Chase Briscoe, 12th in points. Joey Logano, 13th. Chris Buescher, 14th. Bubba Wallace, 15th. And technically right now, Bubba Wallace would be your last man in, because Daniel Suarez, who was 18th in points, has already won a race, and he would bump out Brad Keselowski. So Brad Keselowski, even though he's in points, is going to be your first guy on the outside looking in. He's down there with Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell now out of the top 16, and Brad Keselowski are right there. Austin Cindric is next in 19th. Like I said, Suarez is in 18th, but 19th is going to be Cindric, but Suarez already transfers in with the win. Carson Hocevar in 20th. He continues to lead all rookies. Noah Gragson, with his good run, moves himself up 21st in points, overcoming the early season penalty, we shall say. And let's see. The next closest rookie to Carson Hocevar is going to be 24th. So Carson Hocevar, 20th in points, 24th in points is going to be Josh Berry. And there are your rookie standings. There are your point standings. And let's see what you guys want to talk about in the chat here. Denny going to go all the way, says Shaw, to round two. So Shaw predicts a round two exit for Denny Hamlin. Man, this package makes NASCAR hard to watch for me, says Ralph. Yeah, so you had the tire fall off, but because there's so much speed at Dover, it's not exactly a short track. It is exactly 1 mile, and it carries so much speed that the arrow does become a huge thing here at Dover. So you can arrow block people, and even with the tire fall off, which, don't get me wrong, the tire fall off definitely helped, but it did not help enough to most cars. But at the end of the day, it was a track position race, and we've seen that before. So I think the tires helped. Now we've got to figure out how to get rid of dirty air at Dover specifically. So let's see. Shah agrees with the package makes it hard to watch. Tough. And says, say, Kyle, yeah. William Byron ate it pretty hard there. Bubba Wallace ate it pretty hard there. And Christopher Bell, ever since the talking to at Coda from Kyle Busch, he's been in a little bit of a mini slump. So we'll have to see what happens there. First few races. I do have a poll question up. Let me I should mention that, I guess I should say. Is this finally Denny's year? Yes, no, maybe on Earth 2. So that is the poll question. I don't know if the poll is glitching right now, but so far, no votes on the poll question. So I might have to end it and restart it. Let's see. First few races made me hopeful. Now it's a drag, says Shaw. Talking about the package. Watched the broadcast, and it was all right. Man, Larson couldn't pass him because the aero package just rough goings, I guess. Yeah, okay, so the poll isn't working. Let me end the poll here. That poll is ended. Let me start it again. Start a poll. Is this Denny's year? Denny with apostrophe S year. Yeah. All right, let's see if this poll works. I do have a new poll up. The new poll is exactly the same as the old poll. Even though the old poll right there, you see the results of the old poll, but this one, yeah, you can actually see the results as they go on this one. So here we go. Here we go. The poll is working as it should now, and the poll is up. Poll question, of course, once again, is this Denny Hamlin's year? Yes, no, maybe on Earth 2. Those are the options. We'll see how it plays out. Let's see. All track types suck, in my opinion, says Shah. Ralph Limbrick, all the cars are the same. No way to make changes, really. Boring as F, says Shah. Let's see. I missed a few here, I think. Oh, yeah, okay. Jamie Thornton, what's up, Jamie? Hamlin is now 1 win away from tying Rusty Wallace on 11th all-time on the all-time wins list. That is crazy. That is a pretty crazy, pretty crazy statistic. One, it makes me feel old because I'm like, dang man, like Denny Hamlin's really like that at that stage in his career. And B, I think he passed. Did he not pass Lee Petty? I think he passed Lee Petty on the wins list today. Maybe, if I'm not mistaken. That might have been another driver they were talking about, but I want to say it was Hamlin. So Hamlin might have passed Lee Petty today. Don't quote me on that, but I do think I remember them saying something about that. It hurts my eyes watching this package, says Ralph Limbrick. It's become just a parade with maybe 15 laps at the end. As somebody who lives in Delaware, it made my heart full with the fan turnout. We love our track here in Dover, and I hope we can keep our date on the schedule long term, says Raj. I think so too. Like I really liked what they did. Like from the aerial views, they showed the big duck. They and even Clint Boyer mentioned it. He kind of took the words right out of my mouth. They brought back the carnival like atmosphere. They used to have this at Charlotte a lot too. I remember going back to Charlotte back in the day. I remember also at Richmond and Charlotte in particular. When I went there, it felt like a fair or a state fair or something. They always had something going on. There was like free music, live concert, all kinds of like vendors for food and stuff like that. So I always thought that was really cool, and I really like that Dover brought it back. I've actually talked before about this on other live streams that this is the way it should be for the fan experience, and I'm glad that Dover brought it. And hopefully, because Dover brought it, they will keep their date because I think the fan experience is what it's all about, especially at the racetrack. You can't control how the racing's going to be; that's on NASCAR. But as far as the fan experience, Dover should get a race, be able to keep a race just for that alone. That's my take on that. So yeah, I agree with you. I like the atmosphere that they brought 100% for sure. Ralph says, I feel like if you don't win within the first year of the car, you aren't going to win most of the time. Of course, that's not true, but it would be really hard to win. Passing is such an issue. Yeah, passing for sure with the aero blocking and stuff like that. When watching the highlights of race, basically covers it's not good racing. Says, I want Denny to win a championship, but man, he makes me angry. LOL, says Ralph. Here's my thing with the current way that the point system is now. I feel like if Denny Hamlin, in my personal opinion, and the way I would score it as just like me watching, if Denny Hamlin wins the regular season championship, to me that counts. That counts. I'm going to count Denny Hamlin as a champion, even though the playoffs is the more important one. If Denny Hamlin manages to win a regular season championship, which he's fourth in points right now, I would count that as a championship. Like I would. I counted Martin Truex. I count that as a championship too. In my opinion, now we've got two championships. We've got your playoff championship and we've got your regular season championship. And even though NASCAR doesn't promote the regular season championship the way they should, in my opinion, I think you promote it. And I've talked about this a long time ago, but I'll bring it up again. I think NASCAR should really lean into the Triple Crown. Whoever wins the most races, whoever wins the regular season, and whoever wins the playoffs, that should be part of a triple crown that NASCAR promotes. And so far, to my knowledge, if I'm remembering correctly, I haven't looked it up in a while, but I think Kyle Busch and Kyle Larson are the only two that have won the most races, won the regular season title, and won the playoff title as well. So I think that's a cool triple threat thing that NASCAR could really promote and get behind. Kind of like the triple crown in horse racing or whatever. I think it would be just an extra layer of entertainment you could add to the thing that would sort of take the sting away for the traditional fans that don't like the playoffs. It would give you something to look at, and it would add value to the regular season championship, which I think would make a lot of people happy as well. Yeah, I'm torn. I love to hate Denny, but he does deserve one, says Sha. Denny, by far, is the best driver not to have won a championship. I think everybody can, in this still driving at least, I can agree on that. Now, there's going to be arguments about Mark Martin or Junior Johnson or Denny Hamlin is the best all time that hasn't won a championship. So that's always going to be part of it as well. Denny will choke, says Joseph Wooten. Howdy from the Great White North. What's up, Robin Marks? What's up, Canada? I think he tied Lee Petty today, says Jamie. So, okay, so he tied Lee Petty. Didn't pass him, so that's cool. Paul Henderson, another week of Xfinity being, and who knew? I knew Lee Petty was good, but I didn't know Lee Petty had exactly that many wins. So that's pretty wild too. Something I need to keep track of. Another week of Xfinity being the best race of the week overall. So yeah, that Xfinity Series race was really good. But like I said, if Xfinity wasn't bailed out by the finish, I'm not going to say bailed out, but if Xfinity didn't have the finish that they had, and I know ifs and buts are candy and nuts, people were complaining about the Xfinity Series race too until the very end. So I think the ending of the Xfinity Series race helped it quite a bit. Hamlin's actions on pit road were detrimental to HMS today, says Napa Racing Fan. Yeah, the 11 crew, they were clean on pit road, and whenever the 11 crew is clean on pit road, it's usually a good day for them. Regular season championship should matter, says Billy Joe. Yeah, that's exactly. I'm glad that probably should have been the poll question, but yeah. I think the regular season championship should hold a lot more weight than it holds nowadays. Good run for KFB today. Helps stop the bleeding. Says like this, like yeah. 11th in points. Like I said, it's actually kind of a good shake up in points. I can't remember exactly where everybody was at, but I know Kyle Busch was like in 17th or maybe 16th. No, he was outside, so he was in 17th. So he went from 17th to 11th with that good run, and he got aside from the fourth place finish, he did get he's finished seventh in the first stage, so he got four stage points there, and then he got five more stage points by finishing sixth, so 9 points altogether for stage points. So that's a nice little bump too to the good finish, which is what you got to do when you haven't won a race yet. But I fully expect that now that they're they've had the speed all season, they just had some miscues on pit road. Some poor execution and getting caught up in some other people's stuff. So if they can continue their momentum, I fully expect them to get a win as well. Triple Crown would be nice. Yeah, that would be really cool. I think that's something that NASCAR really needs to promote that they're just not looking at. It's just something else, and you can slap some more sponsors this season presented by Carl's Jr. Whoever, like whatever, however they want to do it. I told you Hamlin would win. Makes up for Dega, says Juan. Okay, so yeah, Denny Hamlin definitely really good here, and he's also really good at the next track coming up, Kansas. So you could see a back to back for Denny Hamlin or Toyota. Probably, I guess the other thing we need to touch on here a little bit is Ford going to get it going. Ford, they had another solid run, but they were nowhere near one of the drivers at the front. So that's concerning a little bit. Feels like we got socks for Christmas right now. After today, says Donnie S. So he is not a Denny Hamlin fan, apparently. Thing about Lee Petty having the same win total, it was done with less races, says Shaw. So yeah, that type of debate can go on, forever, into infinity. So that's when you break out the win percentage. What is your win percentage? So you can always break that stat out too, which I'm not going into that. I just think it's cool that he tied him. And Lee Petty was before Richard Petty. Lee Petty was the man. Like we think about Dale Sr. and Richard Petty and Jimmy Johnson and Cale Yarborough, David Pearson. We think about guys like that as being the man. But like before those guys, and obviously before I was born, and before most probably a lot of people were born, Lee Petty was the man. Like he was the freaking man until he got hurt there at that crazy wreck in Daytona. Yeah, the radio guys were in love with Noah today. I'm ready to give him a second chance. My youngest son is his age, and it's hard today. I was so immature back then. Yeah, everybody was immature back then. Like here's the thing, man. Like social media and young kids, man, it's so hard that people that are that young have to go through cancellation phases while they're growing and learning how to be adults. Because we've all been young, we've all said really dumb crap in our life. We've all been old and said really dumb crap in our life too. That's why I don't understand the whole cancel culture thing altogether. It's just a way of punishing somebody you didn't like to begin with. We all make mistakes. So glad he got a second chance, and glad because he's super nice. Like in person, I've seen him talk to fans. Like I said, I've talked about this before at Martinsville during the truck race or whatever. He was just walking up and sitting beside people who were wearing Noah Gragson shirts and just talking to them. And this was long before the controversy, by the way. So I think he's a good kid, and I think he's got his head on straight now. And he definitely had to do a lot of growing up there pretty quickly. Regular season champion should get first pit in all of the playoffs. Says like this, like that would be a significant incentive to make people go after it. Uh, yeah, wool socks, says Shah. Harvick practicing for Larson at Wilkesboro was unexpected. First time Harvick will drive the 5 since running for JRM in the Nationwide Series day. So yeah, that was the other bit of news that I broke today. So that's pretty cool. Um, Kevin Harvick is going to help him out at the All Star. He's not going to drive the car in the All Star, but he's going to help him with practice and qualifying and I guess all that stuff. Maybe not qualifying, but I guess just practice and setting the car up. Ralph saying poor FBK. He's going to pull off a win this year. Uh, but the Fords need to go back to the drawing board. Hopefully, more wins in the future. So maybe they can do what Chevrolet did after the original Camaro came out. They got to redesign the nose. Maybe Ford will be able to redesign whatever they think is not working on that particular car right now. Elite, what's up, my man? Well, we came close. By the way, I had a YouTube short about Denny that I was going to release, but now I'm going to hold off a few days before I release it because it would be bad timing to release it now. Yeah, I did see your tweet about that. That's ain't that the way the world works, man? You plan something and then something happens and you're like, well, now I got to sit on it for a week. So that's YouTube life. But yeah, I get it. I get exactly why you're doing it. Sheldon saying it's a heavyweight fight. The wins the last few weeks are Hendrick Gibbs. Yeah, I'm with you. Like, forget Chevrolet and Toyota because it's not even Chevrolet Toyota. It is literally Hendrick and Gibbs right now. And with Penske, Penske is sort of hanging there in the background. Like, if Penske can figure it out and get on a run, Penske might be able to give them a run for it. But right now, I'm with you, man. Like, it's Hendrick and Joe Gibbs Racing all the way for sure. Maybe regular season champ should get a free pass into the last round. I don't know about the last round, but maybe the final 8. Like, if you win the regular season, I feel like that should be good for the final 8. And here's the deal. You don't kick anybody out of the final 8. Let's just say the regular season champ doesn't make the final 8. It now becomes the final 9. And then instead of 4 people going home, 5 people would go home before the round of 4. I think that would be a fair thing to do for the for winning the regular season championship. Like, it has to have some level of weight to it. Napa saying, I thought it was a false rumor. LOL. I can't wait to see it, says Ralph. So yeah, a lot of people are stoked to see Kevin Harvick finally get in a Hendrick car. Instead of the last round being, and the reason I say this, if you don't remember back in the day, maybe you weren't born or whatever. All the Kevin Harvick RCR fans, we were forever saying the only reason Jimmy Johnson's winning is because he's in those cheating butt Hendrick cars with cheating Chad. So if Kevin Harvick was in the same equipment, Jimmy Johnson wouldn't have his 6 in a row. So that was as a Kevin Harvick fan, that's what we were saying a lot of back in the day. I will own up to it and be honest about that one. Instead of the last round being, we were salty. We were super happy to see Kevin Harvick get a championship finally, even though it came with Stuart Haas Racing, but he definitely deserved one. He was one of the best drivers in that era of Jimmy Johnson winning 6 in a row. Instead of the last round being 1 race, it could be 2 races with 5 drivers. I think adding more races to the final round is definitely something they could look at. Maybe make the first round 1 race. I like because let's be honest, the same kind of drivers for the most part always are the same drivers that get knocked out in the first round. The guys that surprisingly got in there, then they surprisingly exit in the first round. So maybe make the first round, make the first round a real wild card round. Just make it 1 race, and then we go into the 12. Barely missed it, says Ralph. What's more surprising, Ford's winless streak or Joey Logano's winless streak? 22 is out of the playoffs right now. Probably Joey being out of the playoffs right now is more surprising. I'm not surprised. I knew either Toyota or Ford with the new body would probably one of them would struggle a little bit. So that's not surprising. You see that from time to time. Was not expecting Joey Logano at this stage in the season to be out of the playoffs. Much like last week, I was not expecting. No, Joey Logano is in the playoffs. He's as of right now, he's 13th, so he's in the playoffs. But I guess before that, maybe he wasn't. But yeah, Joey Logano is in the playoffs right now. He's in 13th, so he would be in as it stands right now. But yeah, seeing him struggle a little bit would probably be the bigger thing for sure. But yeah, I expected either Ford or Toyota, and it just happens to be this year that it's going to be Ford that's struggling with the new body, and Toyota seems to be more on top of theirs. HMS sucks, says like dislike. What happened to the 41? 41 caught on fire, like dislike. Caught on fire and was not able to keep going. How many wins should Larson have in 2024? Feels like he should have way more than 1. That's a good question. I don't know. He keeps he even said it in the interview. He keeps picking either the wrong lane or not getting a good restart. So he's given away a lot of races on the restarts here recently. Next year, April 1st, Kia will announce a NASCAR entry. Says, hey, NASCAR, let's go. Kia, let's go. Let's roll. 41 was smoking today, says an Napa Race fan. Yep, just not in a good way. Ralph saying, Bologna Burger, it is what it is. I do HMS. I just had a chokehold on the sport, especially when Junior came over. Yeah, they that was their era for sure. Like every team, every great team has an era, and that was definitely their era. They're still in their era, so they're still doing it at a high level. Joey 3N says John Ray. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Joe Logano, as it stands right now, is 13th in points. So he's got 3 spots to play, or 2 spots really to play with, because Daniel Suarez is right there. So he's only 2 spots in. But yeah, last week he was not in the playoffs, but he made up for it this week with a solid finish. How's Blaney finished near the front while Ford looks terrible? I don't know. It was, I'll tell you what it reminds me of, MB. You remember the year that Chevrolet looked terrible, and the only people that could do, I think it was 2018. Yeah, 2018. Austin Dillon won the Daytona 500, and then Chase Elliott and I think Alex Bowman were the only other Chevrolets that could get wins that year. Maybe Kyle Larson. I can't remember exactly, but I remember Chase Elliott was consistently the only Chevrolet that year in 2018 that could do anything at all. So that was sort of surprising, but that's 100% what it reminds me of, with Ryan Blaney being the only Ford that seems to be able to figure out this new configuration of the body that they've got. Where did Barry finish? Barry finished sort of back here. Where was he? 14th, so not too bad. He finished 14th. So actually a pretty good day, all said and done. Pretty good day for Stuart Haas altogether. They got the 14th there. I mean, Priest finished dead last, but you got the 14th place with Josh Berry. Then you got Noah Gregson in 6th. So not a bad day. And Briscoe's in here somewhere too. Disco Briscoe 19th. So there you go. I've been keeping a close eye on RFK Gang and engines. Hope Haley finishes top 21 in points, says Ralph. Yeah, for sure, for sure. Haley and Rick Ware, they're not having a great season, but they're having a really good season for Rick Ware. So you could be seeing Rick Ware starting to rise up just a little bit in their quality of finishes. But once again, the engine expired for Michael McDowell. So that's another concern for Ford. Are they starting to push the engines because they're not confident in what the what they've learned with the body configuration just yet? The new body configuration of the Dark Horse Mustang. Dillon Daytona 500, Elliott 3 wins in 2018. That was it for Chevy. So there you go. Chase Elliott and Austin Dillon in 2018, the only 2 guys that could do anything with the Chevrolets. But Chase Elliott, the only guy that could do anything with them consistently. He actually had a decent points finish that year. Ford in 2024 is way better than Chevy in 2018, says Napa Racing fan. Maybe the season is still young, so we'll have to see. But right now they've got 0 wins, and that's got to be concerning for sure. Will Harvick practicing the 5 hurt their chances for a repeat, or is it an advantage in your opinion? How do you see Harvick performing in HMS equipment despite retirement? It's the All-Star race. I don't know exactly how much you're going to learn there. It's not a track that you're going to run any type of points races at. Really, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. If I'm RCR, I come in there and bring like several cars and just run as many R&D cars as I possibly can to try to figure out the short track package. Like that, to me, that would be the only. Hendrick, I feel like their short track package is pretty solid. So maybe they put Harvick in there and learn something from that aspect, or maybe they pick his brain and get something from Stuart Haas that he knows that they didn't know. I don't know. I don't know. So we'll have to see how it goes. But yeah, I mean, putting Kevin Harvick in a race car is never a bad thing. But the driver that he's sort of replacing, I mean, Kyle Larson's pretty good too. So I don't know. I feel like they have different driving styles too. So I just don't know how that's going to work out. You never know till they run them. Thanks, BB. Remember that became the Elliott fandom year, says MBR. Oh yeah. That's when everybody that pulled for Chevrolet was like, thank God for Chase Elliott and Austin Dillon, because he did win the 500. Even though people have turned on Austin Dillon now, I guess they turned on him then too because he wrecked out Eric Almirola, who blocked late. We need the next gen car soon. This car sucks. I just use the Xfinity car, says Bo Darville. Yeah, like I said, I don't know what their plan is with this car, but they seem very rigid, almost as rigid as the car itself on moving away from it. I found a new NASCAR store. It's called Trackside Outlet. Just got a Rowdy Energy helmet from them. Says I like dislike. Yeah. I've not heard of them, so I'll have to check them out. Trackside Outlet, so check them out if you want some cool merch. Zero wins for Ford in all top three series, and ARCA is more stunning. I thought Cole Custer got a win, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Someone said earlier identical cars, which is tough, but how long will NASCAR stay with dirty air? F1 has proven it doesn't work. Yeah, I don't know. Like that's a great question. I don't know. They need to do something about the diffuser at the bottom because I feel like that is just like that is literally like an air gun that you use from your rear to shoot at the nose of the other car. 100%. BB, can you say hi to mom Jean Hopper? I have her on TV. Hey Jean, hey mom, how you doing? Hope you're doing good today. No problem. I have you on her TV, says Jamie. So yeah, no problem. Hope y'all are all doing good over there at the Schweitzer household. The Derby is this Saturday and runs 7 p.m. before the trucks at Kansas starts. Says Napa Race fan. Hey, so there you go. There you go. A little bit of horse racing knowledge. I don't know anything about horse racing. Yeah, Custer was close, including yesterday, but zero wins. Okay, so Custer hasn't won. So that is interesting. I did not know that they haven't won in any series yet, any of the touring series yet. Have the owners been vocal about how much money this car saves the teams? According to Denny Hamlin, it costs about the exact same. So according to Denny Hamlin, it's the exact same, if not more. Congrats to Denny. JGR has race winning speed every week, and he actually has a pit crew to back it up. Unlike the 19 car, I'll tell you who's probably worse than that. The 20 car. I feel like every week, man, the 20 car, there's just something going on with that pit crew, man. Like I just feel like I don't know. I don't know. It's MBR also saying, "Hey Gene," and "Hey Jamie's mom says like dislike." She shook her head and said I was an ass. Says Jamie Schweitzer. So both have three. Says Napa Race fans. So there you go. I mean, they got to be your front runners, right? I would say Hamlin, Byron, Truex, and Kyle Larson have to be your early favorites for Final Four. But as you know, the playoffs are completely unpredictable. Who knows who the actual Final Four would be? But as far as like guys that have had just like basically, that's just off the top of my head. Let's see if the points pan that out. Oh, nope. The points do not pan that out. They say Chase Elliott is actually third best. So Kyle Larson, Martin Truex Jr., Chase Elliott, and Denny Hamlin are your four. Tyler Reddick and William Byron are 5 and 6. I would swear William Byron was having a better season, but I guess he's had several DNFs. I don't have the statistic for his DNFs, but I guess he's had more DNFs. Maybe he's having like a Ryan Newman kind of year when Matt Kenseth won the championship 03, I want to say, where he has like a lot of wins and a lot of DNFs. So we'll have to see how it shakes out. But the only wild card is the playoffs. So it's not season long points anymore. So not necessarily the biggest deal in the world. Bell has wrecked out 4 straight weeks. Yikes, says Napa Race fan. Yeah, like I said, Kyle put the bad juju on him at Coda, and he just has not been right since. Don't cross Kyle Busch. He's a very powerful wizard. Bumstead, I would prefer a different owner than Denny's opinion about costs. Maybe more owner's experience, says Bumstead. Uh, I mean, that is a fair thing to say, but he's the only owner that has spoken up and said something to my knowledge about the actual costs of the old car versus the cost of the new car. So we'd have to get some perspective from somebody else. I'll look it up and see if anybody else has spoke on it. Justin Marks talks about stuff from time to time, so I'll see if Justin Marks has maybe said something about it. I can't think of too many other owners who are sort of out there in the public, so I'll try to find something though. Hard hit on the inside wall by Seabell. Yeah, there was a lot of hard hits in that one. Bubba Wallace took a hard hit in that crash as well, and William Byron for sure took a lick. If you just saw the nose of his car, like so, all three of those guys, hopefully they're okay. Because with the rigidness of this car, even a small hit can be bad. So hopefully everybody's okay. As we just saw last week with Eric Jones with a massive hit. Jimmy Johnson is kind of embarrassing himself. Corey Heim was better in his first race, says Bo Darville. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I think Jimmy Johnson's just out there to keep the sponsors rolling in at this point. So I don't know. I don't know any other way to put it than that's pretty much why he's out there. Oh yeah, the pit crew on the 20 car is the worst, but at least he has a win. Martin Truex Jr. should have 2 wins if it wasn't for his pit crew. That's a fair statement, Dirty Def. They have boned him at least twice, and one of those for sure would have been a win. The other one, Definitely was in contention. My grandmother worked for the Baffert family. They're local here by Mexico, Arizona border, huge for the Nogales community here in Arizona. Baffert can correlate to HMS with their stable of stallions. Talking about Bob Baffert, by the way, which is pretty much the only name I know in horse racing. So there you go. And he is absolutely a legend. Correlation there. Wouldn't it be wild if a four won the championship with 0 wins this year? That would be pretty crazy. I'm here for that kind of stuff. Like I love like as far as if we're gonna get playoffs for entertainment, give me something that entertains me. Give me a no win champion in the era where wins are supposed to mean the most. Jimmy Johnson was still lobbying for more practice. He said it would save the team's money. Says like dislike. So there you go. Maybe I need to look at Jimmy Johnson's statements too. I it still doesn't click with me that he's an owner, but he is an owner. Johnson and so is Brad Keselowski. But sometimes I still think of them too as drivers, but they are owners now too. Johnson's competitive days are over. Should have stayed in IndyCar with the oval schedule. Air blocking this piece of crap new car is the gift giving, says Claremont Garage. Have you talked about Gregson? Listening to him on Sirius, he's growing. Yeah, like I said, if it wasn't for the points penalty, like this actually helped him in the points. He is now 21st in points. He was much further down before this race started because of the points penalty that he incurred at the beginning of the season. But this right here puts him. He's in contention now. Like he is within. He's at 185 and 16th place. Now we know why. Says MB. MB laughing at T-Van. Carson Voppel or Connor Zilich, who gets their first win or who gets their first NASCAR victory. RPG teammates at Dover this weekend in ARCA, says Leon's Automotive. I will go Carson Voppel there unless Connor Zilich. It just depends on who's getting the most starts. So I guess if whoever gets the most starts, but Connor Zilich, he's got the edge on the road courses. Carson Voppel, I would give him the edge on short tracks. So flip a coin, but I would go. I guess I'll go Carson Voppel there. Putting the votes in for the 77 in the All-Star Daily. Hey, there you go. So vote for if you want to. It would be appreciated. Vote for Carson Josephus Hocevar 4 times a day and 1 time for your favorite driver. We're trying to get Josephus into the All-Star. T-Van, take 4 it back and you'll get some, says Juan. Newman nearly won the championship without winning a race in 2014. Crafton won the title with 0 wins in 2019 to expose the playoff system, says Napa Race fan. Yep, and we're just waiting for it to happen in the Cup Series because eventually, law of averages, it will eventually happen if it's happened in the other series. Is Gregson the best Ford driver right now? I would say it's Ryan Blaney. Just statistically, Ryan Blaney's been the better Ford driver this season, if I'm not mistaken. Let me jump to the points before I run my mouth here. Yep. 7th place right now. Ryan Blaney is the highest Ford in the points. So right now he's having the better season of all the Ford drivers. Chase Briscoe is up there as well, and then Joey Logano, and then Brad Keselowski. So they're having a little bit of a better year than Noah Gragson. Even if you gave Noah the points back, those guys would still be ahead of him. Good day for my fantasy lineup, says Delmar. Look for Jimmy's press conference from Dover yesterday. He addresses a lot of things. Says like dislike. All right, I'll check that one out. So hopefully he touches on that. I'd like to see Zilich and Voppel full time and JRM Xfinity, but they can only have 4 full time cars. Disappointing day for Ross. No, they can have as many in Xfinity. You can have as many full time cars as you want to. That's only a cup rule for the 4 teams. Disappointing day for Ross. I only know that because Junior spoke about it one year. Disappointing day for Ross. He had run the most laps in the top 5 in the last 2 Dover races, but he couldn't even hardly crack the top 10 today. Yeah, like he's been sort of hit or miss this year, but like he's a good driver, right? So I mean, Ross, he's going to get the most out of the race car. He was several positions ahead of his teammates, so he was getting the most out of his race car. It's a hard track. Daniel Suarez can drive. I'm not taking anything away from him. I've been very impressed with Daniel Suarez. But I feel like Ross is always going to get the best out of the race car. And this track either suits a driver or it doesn't suit a driver. It's very much like Martinsville. It either suits a driver or it don't. And this is just not a track that suits Daniel Suarez, but it does seem to suit Ross Chastain, and it's a better track for Ross Chastain. But the fact that he could only get where did he end up finishing here? in the fact that he only finished 12th, like if he had a little bit of a better car and it wasn't just a complete track position race, I think he would have done a lot better. But yeah, 12th place, not bad. You know why Ross did bad? I bet on him in DraftKings, says Bumstead. So there you go, Bumstead. Stop betting on Ross. You're ruining all the Ross fans. Brad K, probably the second best Ford, says Dirty Diff. How did Bubba do today? BB says Jamie Schweitzer. He wrecked. He was in that wreck with. I still don't know exactly what happened or what caused it, but he was in that wreck with Christopher Bell and William Byron. So those three on one of the restarts got collected in a big one. Did you see Kaz Grala's practice crash? That was nasty. Yeah, that was pretty bad. So good to see he was in the race car and hopefully okay. I bet on the 19 car too, says Bumstead. Bumstead hurting everybody's bets here. What do you want to see, BB, next race and to change? I don't know. I don't know. Kansas is a mile and a half. The mile and a halfs this year have actually been pretty good. So I don't know if I would change anything about that. Like that's the one thing about this car; they have figured out the mile and a halfs. So I don't know. I don't know what I would change about that. It's the other races, the road courses, the short tracks that need to get figured. Even the super speedways. I mean, it's a super speedway. If you like super speedway racing, so there you go. I don't know what I would do to a mile and a half though. So yeah. All right. Looks like we have reached the end of the chat. So if nobody else wants to jump in, I will call it on this one, and we'll see where the poll's at. 47% saying no. This is not Denny's year. 32% saying yes, and 21% saying maybe on Earth too. So all right, that's that, and I'll end it. Y'all take them easy. See you on Monday. Peace.